So my talk is on the Liferay community, and it's about you guys. It's about everyone in the Liferay ecosystem. This talk is going to be a little bit serious, a little bit optimistic, and a little pessimistic at the same time. So I titled it The Good, the Bad, and the Future. So when we go to the good, I'll talk about the good, and the bad, I will not pull punches. And then I'm going to say what I think we can do about the future. Okay, so first, the good. I went to SourceForge just to check our downloads. And from the beginning to now, we've had 16 million some downloads. Granted, some of those are bots, some of them may be bad. I'll remove a bunch of them. We've probably had at least still 1 million developers at some point in time downloading and starting the portal. And we've been downloaded from all over the world. The top countries are US, India, China, and Germany. Okay, all about even. When you go to GitHub, we've had, just in the last 8 to 10 years, it's not even of all time, it doesn't include our CVS and a majority of our SVN commits, we've had about 350,000 commits and 2,400 forks. There's a lot of substance to Liferay over the last 15 years. These are metrics, these are numbers. Another one is I went to our forums and I just checked it out. We have 389,000 posts. Sure, some of it is spam, but still, over a period of time, somebody's asking something and somebody's answering something. And across the number of people who've created accounts, some of them are fake, sure, but still 31,000 users, okay? It's something I'm thankful for. These are good things. We have been almost 15 years as a business now, or over 15 years as a business, and almost 20 years as an open source product. That's pretty cool. Most projects, come and go. We've survived. And our open source credentials, they're real. This is from OpenChain. They certify companies that have processes that ensure their products are truly open source. And they just had this in their event a week ago in France. And they had Liferay and Sony, and then a bunch of these smaller ones. I'm like, wow, why would they put Liferay so much bigger than those other ones? Because they see value in our open source credentials. But that type of credential isn't what I'm most thankful for, that I would say is most good. This is circa 2004, and we went to Spain, and there was a company there called Hermanus that was using the product, and they were one of the first in Spain. And there's Jorge there, there's B. Kim with his weird mouth, and that's actually me with the glasses and the short hair and the semi trying to dress up. And then there's a guy there in green right there. His name is Diego, and here's a photo I got of him just a few weeks ago. He's working for one of our largest customers now. It's been since 2004. He's moved around, and he's been a champion for us in lots of different places, Diego. And that makes me very proud. Like, wow, I value these relationships. And even coming to DevCon, now this is my third DevCon, or no, third or fourth DevCon, I don't remember. But I'm recognizing faces. There are people here that I see once a year that I catch up with, and it's weirdly cool. I'm thankful for that. From a business side, we've accumulated $100 million in ARR, annual recurring revenue. We have over 1,800 logos, right? That's something to be proud of, especially when you look at all the open source companies that have been invested in. They aim to be something really, really big, and then they get bought out, and then they kind of, you lose track of them. We're not doing that. We're constantly evolving. And part of it is because when people ask me, what is Liferay? I tell them this: we are not a unicorn, okay? I picked that picture because it's blue, and we're not trying to be that. All these other companies, they have a gun to their head and say, grow, 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 right? That's not us. We're not going to have growth at any cost. We're going to do calculated growth. So what are we? If we're not a unicorn, if we're not a billion-dollar Silicon Valley unicorn, what are we? We are a mule. So that's actually a mule's head that I got to see around 2012. We went to the Grand Canyon, Karis and I, and we wanted to have one last big trip before we had children. And so we wanted to ride these mules down to the Grand Canyon. Now, they definitely don't let you ride unicorns because they don't exist, but they also don't let you ride horses. They only let you ride mules. And here you'll see, here's the back of Karis, and right in front of her is our guide on a mule also. And it's January, it's super icy, it's freezing cold. And by the time I got down to the bottom of the Grand Canyon, it was 5 p.m., I was super tired. Karis and I just went to sleep. Now, as we were going down, we would look to our right, and we would see just a steep cliff. And if you fell off, you would die. And that's why they pick mules. Mules are sure-footed. They're stable. They're not your racehorse, but in that scenario, they're perfect, especially during the Grand Canyon as you're weaving in and out. You want a mule. And they don't even give you young mules. They give you mules who are over 10 years old because those are the best mules for that job. And mules live to 40 to 50 years old. And as I was scared going down the mule, my tour guide said, don't worry. In the 100 years in which we've had mule rides, there has never been an accident from a mule. I was like, okay, that makes me feel a lot more comfortable. And that's what Liferay is. We're a mule. We're here, we're slow and steady, and we're gonna provide value in sightseeing going down the Grand Canyon and going back up the Grand Canyon. So I'm thankful for that, from a business perspective, for our community. And there's something else I'm really thankful for. We have amazing fans, okay? So this is a slide from Mastering Liferay. Now, most other companies, if they saw that, they'd immediately send them a trademark violation. We didn't. We looked at it, we immediately saw they built a learning system on top of Liferay. The stuff was super cool looking. So wow, I'm thankful for these dedicated fans. Here's another dedicated fan I'm really thankful for, Firelay. I looked at how they change the letters. They do hosting really well with a focus on OpenShift, and I was really happy for them. All right, those are partners that I'm thankful for. Those are super fans. And then I Googled online just to see what people said about Liferay, and I found this thing. It's called I Love Liferay. I'm like, wow, some designer actually designed a logo, put it up, and I'm thankful. These are all good things. There is love for the product from people. Now, from the perspective of Liferay, the company, which is still part of the community, we used to have these annual retreats. And this is a photo of one of our first ones. And almost half of the people are still here doing different positions at Liferay. And some of them, I'd have them come to my house, and they'd live with me for 2-3 months as I would train them in the Liferay way of doing things. And here's one photo. And it's amazing. If you look carefully, there's Tiago, Jorge, and who else is there? Anyways, you can see the photos. We're missing Julio, but there's Alberto, and there's Eduardo and Bruno still, and my wife. So of all of them, of everyone in this picture, there's only 2 people. Everyone in there worked for Liferay. There's only 2 people that aren't still working for Liferay. That's unheard of in the tech industry. We recently hired an HR person to look at our attrition rate, like people leaving Liferay. And there's an industry standard for tech companies is like 15%. Our annual attrition rate's like 7 to 8%. It's half of a normal tech company. Those are things I'm very, very thankful for. And in the end, it makes the product good and better because we have continuity. Okay? Now, that was the good. Here's the bad. Okay, guys? One of the things I'm not happy about is this is a slide for Liferay adoption. okay? On the right-hand side, it says sites that are used by lots and lots of folks. On the left-hand side, it says sites that are used by highly trafficked sites. So the bigger your site, the more likely you're to use Liferay versus WordPress. But it doesn't have to be that way. I wish we were up and right. I want us to be used by more sites. There's something about Liferay that's hard to use, that's hard to get into, and I want to fix that. But that's just reality. You can just Google this yourself. I think this was from W3 Techs. Here's another one that's scarier, and this is the worst of the slides that I can show. So we were looking through Public WW and Shodan to see how many sites have vulnerabilities on Liferay. And when I saw this, it made me want to cry. So 5.0, that was Luther, and then Calvin, Augustine, Bunyan, Patton, and so forth, okay? And the latest one is Mueller. You can see that our adoption rate was highest for 6.2. And immediately after 6.2, there was a huge drop in usage from new sites for Liferay. That's a terrible photo, but that's reality. And that's something I have to live with. And I kept asking myself, why would we peak at 6.2? What did we do wrong? Okay? And the other reason, a lot of other people would say, hey, Brian, in front of the community, don't show this stuff. No. I want to show this stuff because I want you to know that if there's bad stuff going in the Liferay community, I'm going to look at it straight in the face, and we're gonna do something about it. I can't pretend we don't have problems. We got to look at the problem and do our best to solve it. So I'm asking myself, what correlated with the drop? And I think it correlated with two bad decisions, okay, that affected the community, which is why it's part of this community talk. So one of them is our decision. This is our infamous blog post. Most of our blog posts do not get 94,000 views, okay? This one got 94,000 views. It's when we pulled out clustering from the community edition. Looking back, I totally regret that decision. We pissed off the community. That was a bad decision, right? I'm sure pulling off WebSphere, app service support, and Oracle database, those were okay because those are things you have to pay for anyways. Pulling out clustering, that was not a good idea. It's the last time I would listen to a sales guy telling me to do something of this extreme. So that was a bad idea. Another one is we make technical decisions that are good without thinking of the ramification of the community. Let me explain. If you're from the 90s, you would know what it means to be an elite hacksaw, right? And you don't type in the word elite, you use 3s and 4s and 0s, you know, and that's how you'd page each other. And that's what OSGI is. When we went from 6.2 to 7.0, we basically said, hey, everyone who used to use plugins SDK, we don't care about you. We want you to learn this new way because this new way is the right way. And technically, it is the right way. But it doesn't matter because we were making decisions on what is technically right and not on the effect on adoption. Because suddenly, if you didn't understand class loaders, you didn't understand bundle exports, man, I've been using OSGI for years, and I'm finally scratching the surface, and I have some basic understanding of it. Okay? There are other guys at Liferay who know OSGI much, much better than me, and I rely on them for it. It's difficult, and we should have seen this coming. This is around that time period when we were making the switch. Rod Johnson this is an article from InfoQ, and Rod Johnson from Spring had been a huge supporter of OSGI from 2008 and on. And 4 years after they did it, they ripped out OSGI from Spring after doing it for 4 years. And he gave a bunch of reasons for why he did it, and another one is, in a radio talk show, he basically said, and this is on the server side, it's just not easy enough to use. It's not as productive as it should be, and he lists all these reasons, and we basically, unless you're in the top 1%, you're not going to be able to do it. So when I look at the group we have here, this is what I think of you guys. This is a photo of the Navy SEALs, okay? The reality is, if you gave me that equipment right now, and you told me to walk a mile, I would drop, Because I don't think I could carry a heavy machine gun. I don't think I could carry a big scuba thing, and I'd be struggling to breathe with that on land. And that's what we've done for OSGI. There's a group here that can take care of it. And you guys are the elite 1% of developers who look at Liferay, comprehend it, and go, yeah, this is how you do it. Oh, I now have all this power I didn't have before. But for the other 99% that didn't need that power, we basically said goodbye to them. Okay? So we catered to the special forces of developers, and we forgot about the military, the policemen, the firemen, and all the other ones that are necessary for a healthy civilization. Okay? We're too programmer cocky in that. Okay, so that's the bad. I talked about the good, and now I want to talk about the future. Okay? What are we going to do in light of these bad things in the community while keeping the good? So here's what we have planned for the future. For a couple years, nobody at the executive level at Liferay, meaning the top C-levels, owned documentation. 1 year it was me, but me asleep. I just didn't care, okay? Then we gave it to Mike Han, then he gave it to B. Chung, and we just kind of passed it around, and none of us cared about it. Right around May, as I was processing these numbers, I looked at documentation, and our documentation, and I realized we were putting hurdles into adoption. And one of our documenters came to me pacing a few days ago, really angry. I'm like, JR, what's wrong? And he said, now I know why you want me to do this, because just to learn how to build a theme, if you don't know how to do it, it's impossible to navigate the documentation to figure it out. Now, if you're in the top, and I specifically picked a guy who was technical, but not a 1% developer. I wanted to see what a normal guy would have like. I know our really good developers can navigate and figure it out. I want to know what the 99% would think. So I took a guy who's in the 99%, and in the last couple of months, we've revamped our documentation, and I'm personally driving this, okay? I'm looking at the articles. I'm encouraging the guys to have an evangelistic flavor, like proselytize to people and tell people about the good news of Liferay. I've been telling people that. I want to lower the barrier to entry. I want people who are like me, who are dumb as a rock when it comes to learning new information, to be able to do this. One anecdotal story is my GPA in college for CS was 2.7. That's out of 4.0. 2.7 is very bad. They had grades for my CS class. They listed everyone's by their number, and it was like this, they all had grades here, and after that there was a huge drop. And that number was me. And the way I learned to code wasn't by reading a book, because I can never learn that way. I ran into Mike Han, our new CTO, and he sat behind me, and he said to me, Brian, and I still remember this as clear as day, he said, Brian, I want you to create an instance of a JDBC object. And I was sweating down here, and I had no idea what an instance was. Then he said, Brian, import this class. I didn't know what an import of a class was, even though I was supposedly passing my CS classes barely. And then he taught me to learn. And once he taught me to learn, the world was in front of me. And what I know about software now comes from the pull requests I get. As I see new patterns, I can comprehend it. So I'm really good at not learning well. So I'm using that deficiency into our documentation. So learn.liferay.com, it's available now. It's beta, guys. There's some broken links, but we're going to have it all ready by Q1. There's no other way to get to it from liferay.com. It's not even known. It's just in this room. So we only have Commerce and DXP Cloud, but you can see it, and it's a complete different flavor. I basically told our documentation team, no more blah, blah, blah stories, straight into the point. So in this example, we spent a week coming up with a format for how to engage with people. So this is on how to implement a custom checkout step. So from now on going forward, the first paragraph is always, what are you trying to do? Show a picture of what is happening right now. Then go over, give, if you look on the right-hand side, very, very simple instructions. You just cut and paste that. You don't have to have anything installed except great old Java and Docker. And once you have that, you run it, then we give you instructions, and look, that thing you just deployed, that's what it did. My goal is to make it so my wife can do this, and she's not a programmer, okay? And then from there, then we describe the OSGI magic without telling them you have to learn OSGI first. It's sort of like telling somebody you have to learn German grammar before you learn German. No, that's not how you learn German grammar. You learn German by just speaking German as a little baby. That's how you learn it. So we just want people to know in the process of developing Liferay, this is the cool stuff you can do, and then we're gonna be very, very simple, straightforward, and you're done. And everything is Googleable, focused on one type of thing. Now this documentation, there's also a different focus. I wanna focus on two different types of developers. It's not simply the 1%, 99%. Although it kind of overlaps. It's also people who need to modify Liferay and people who need to build stuff on top of Liferay. See, Liferay as a whole, we have to modify Liferay a lot. And so our documentation ended up focusing on how to modify Liferay a lot, but that's not what most people need. Most people just need to start Liferay, hit our WEM, deploy a few things, and then from there, make their site and bring business value. So all of it is going to be focused on that. So by Q1, right now only DXP Cloud and Commerce is on there. By the end of Q1, DXP and everything we've had is going to be rewritten, and I'm overseeing this myself personally with a team of people. The other thing I'm pushing for is I want to revamp liferay.dev. Okay, I looked at it. We have 300-some thousand posts. It's nice, but it's hard for me to navigate and figure out what's going on. So Javier and some other folks are revamping this as well. And we're going to take our existing message boards and we're going to create a new portlet, an app, because I still think there's value in that, which simply allows you to vote up and down. So that active threads are not simply who posted last, but who wants most from it. And then we're going to use tagging instead of categories, because right now things only belong in one message board category. Forget that. I want to be able to tag multiple things so you can search based on what's relevant. And I want every thread to have its own friendly URL. Right now it's like message board thread 55. No. Now it's going to be message board thread / how to include Node.js module in the directory. And everything is going to be in there so that people can just Google and find us, and we can be authoritative in that way. And the other cool thing is, in this complete rewrite that's coming up in end of Q1, we're dog-fooding GraphQL. All of this is done as a React app, so for a better UI, talking to our GraphQL endpoints. And we're going to make this the one default communication platform. Milan came up to me and said, hey, I forgot this person's name, but person X put in a feature request. I was like, okay, so when did he put in the feature request? 5 years ago. Has anyone responded to him? No. So we basically told the guy, and we basically gave the middle finger to the guy. We basically told him, we don't care about you. Okay? And that sucks. I don't want any community member to have that experience. And one of the other things I noticed was, there's a very dedicated group of Liferay folks who communicate through the forums. David Nebinger is one of them, so props to him. But I'm making it a quota so that 80% of engineering and support, well, mainly engineering, not so much support, but definitely the engineers, the core guys who make the stuff, have to absolutely participate every month. So the activity should flourish. You should be able to get immediate feedback. You should be able to get access to everyone who's, all the speakers you're seeing here, I'm going to impose that on them. Everyone's going to have to spend at least half an hour a day communicating with human beings. Okay? And if somebody puts in a post on here and says, I have a feature request, I'm going to turn off all the Jira stuff. I don't want stuff in GitHub issues, Jira, and message board posts, because then it gets lost. It's all going to be in this one improved message boards UI, which will track all this stuff. So if you put in a new feature request, we may tell you no, but we will tell you no right away so you don't have to wait 5 years and feel like you're not heard. That will not be acceptable anymore going forward. So we're going to redo our documentation. We're going to improve our feedback loop via forums and nurture the relationships that we have. The virtual relationships of people who will never fly to DevCon because it's a small group that flies to DevCon. It's the top 1%. I want to nurture and empower the 1% to help the 99%. And then there's one other change we're going to do. That's massive. This sounds so stupid that we didn't do this before. We're going to release early, we're going to release often, and we're going to listen to our customers. How is that going to, I mean, you guys can Google this. I did not make this phrase up. Somebody much wiser did, and lots of other open source projects have leveraged this. So what are we going to do? Starting in January, we're going to release Community Edition GA1. And from that point in time, until DXP is released, we're going to have a release, a GA, with new features that we get feedback from the community every 6 weeks. Okay? And Liferay.com itself will be the first one to upgrade to guarantee it is a stable release. We're not going to give leftover meals to our community. We're going to give our community a good community edition beforehand. We're redoing all of our engineering processes to make this happen, and the real impetus is this. Okay, we invested all this energy into making modern site building. So we have 1 year, 1 iteration. Then Liferay.com starts using it, and my marketing team complains. I can do this, but dude, it takes me 4 clicks when it should take 1. This is super confusing. Why is it like this versus like this? Great. A year from now, we'll have a fix for you. A year goes by, and this is what happened. This broke my heart. The Liferay.com team gets it. It's like, oh no, this is not what I meant. We waited an entire year for that feedback. So from now on, it's a 6-week feedback loop. And that's how we're going to improve the product and make it useful so that when you choose to do Liferay, you actually become a hero to your company. Okay? So, thanks. So what's in it for me? When I say me, I mean you. So we're taking, look, so Liferay has some risk here right now. The world is changing. Things are going to Node.js, things are going to cloud. Are we still relevant? Should you still keep investing in Liferay? Right? So here's what I think this is what's in it for you, okay? You in the audience right now, you're the top 1%. And our goal is, we're going to grow our community 100x, okay? We're going to make it so that we are popular, not just in Java circles, but beyond. And I think we can do that now because it's a Docker world. It's a Docker and REST world and a JavaScript world. So if I can Dockerize that, target certain crowds, we can grow this size of the community 100x. And when that happens, people are going to look at your resumes, people are going to look for companies that know Liferay, and they're going to be bandwagon Liferay fans who just got on board. Then they're going to look at your resumes and go, wow, they've been here for 10 years. These guys are the real legit thing, and you guys are gonna do better. Now, I said earlier that I keep telling my docs team I want them to evangelize Liferay with good news. I want them to herald and proclaim good news. So what's this good news that I want to promise? Here's the good news. You're going to have fun using Liferay. You're going to be more productive, and you're going to be a hero. That's what we're focusing on for the future. And I'm doing my darn best to make that happen. Now, I want to end with this slide. I Googled this, and I Googled ray of light, and I Googled the word mist. And then I found a photo that's public domain, high res, and besides, I just find this photo pretty. I want to end with this, because I'm not the type of guy that's going to say, la, 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 I know the future. For crying out loud, my life is a mist. I'm here today, gone tomorrow. I can't number the hairs of my head. I know nothing. Okay? So all this stuff that I'm saying I want to do for the future, I don't know the future. So I wanted to do this to remind me of that I don't control the future, but I will try my hardest, guys, and I have a good set of friends. And I happen to know someone who does control the future, and I'm asking him for help. So I'm thankful for you guys as a community. I shared about the good, the bad, and the future, and I hope you continue to invest in us, because I'm continuing to invest in Liferay, and we're going to have a Liferay revival where we're going to grow our community size 100x. Okay? Thanks, everyone.